This is a story about a couple that went to stay in a lodge located at Yosemite National Park to revisit where they first met. This is why they regret it. It all started in 1999 with a young couple named Alex and Emily. They both met on a school trip to Yosemite National Park. The two were part of the same school trip and never got to know each other until they were forced to work together on a project. This was going to last the entirety of their stay, which was 7 days. At first, Alex and Emily hated working together and were constantly at each other's throats. After a few days, they got to know each other better than before and stopped arguing about everything. When they reached the end of the trip, they started to fall in love with each other. 5 years had passed, and they were deeply in love with each other, and the pair of them were working their dream jobs. Emily worked in a care home. She was passionate about taking care of people that couldn't help themselves because it made her feel fortunate to take care of others that were near the end of their life and wanted to give them good memories before they pass. Alex owned his own dealership selling family cars, which he got ownership of when his dad unfortunately passed. But he had a great history with working on cars and had been doing so with his dad since he was a child. Alex loved his job because he felt like he was carrying his dad's legacy. Alex, along with Emily, lived in a 3-story brick house with grand windows, 5 acres of land. In addition to that, they had a Porsche on the drive. They had recently also had a child named George. One day, when Emily was at work, one of the people she was caring for was talking about this amazing trip they went on to Yosemite National Park. Then Emily had this amazing idea to return to the place that Alex and her originally fell in love. As soon as Emily finished work, she rushed home to Alex, explaining to him how it would be a fantastic idea to revisit their childhood memories of where they first met. Alex was ecstatic at the idea and instantly booked a babysitter for George whilst they were away from home. Suddenly, Emily and Alex began to pack their belongings with extreme excitement. Beginning their journey, they jumped in their car, turned the keys, and left for Yosemite National Park, arriving the next day. After hopping out the car, together, they simultaneously stared at the trail heading towards the lodge, reminiscing on the memories from half a decade ago, prior to looking each other in the eyes and walking down the trail to the cabin they booked, the exact place they were at 5 years ago. The couple began unpacking their clothes, hanging them up, taking the food out, and placing it in the fridge. It was already late 9 p.m. Alex wanted to get some rest in advance of their hike tomorrow. They had previously planned to go on, but Emily persuaded Alex to head outside and toast marshmallows with her. Alex gave in, and together, the pair of them headed out the wooden glass door. They both sat down and began toasting marshmallows over the fire. Instantaneously, the couple was disrupted by a high-pitched, blood-curdling scream. In a flash, they sprinted back into the cabin. Emily was panicking and questioning the sound and started begging Alex to call the police. But Alex insisted it was just a fox. Emily began to calm down, and as one concluded, it was a good idea to get some rest as it was going to be a long day to get ready for tomorrow. It was 7 a.m. They both woke to the sounds of birds chirping, ahead of going down the creaky wood stairs to prepare some breakfast and sandwiches for the hike this afternoon. They left at 4 p.m., making sure to take everything for the hike. They began their walk to Tuolumne Grove. It was a warm summer's day, with the leaves crunching beneath their feet. Upon arrival to Tuolumne Grove, they saw the number 666 carved into multiple trees. This started to worry Emily and Alex, so they turned around and started heading back to the lodge upon seeing a lumberjack cutting some wood roughly halfway between the lodge and Tuolumne Grove. They approached the lumberjack in the lead to questioning if he had seen any strange or ominous signs carved into the trees. The lumberjack just grunted and immediately went back to cutting wood. Alex and Emily thought it was best to leave him alone, then hastily headed back to the lodge. As it was getting dark, they arrived back at the lodge and both concluded that it was a good idea to head home that same night to avoid anything weird or potentially dangerous happening. Before they even have a chance to start packing their bags, they start hearing the sound of wood splitting. Alex slides the curtains to the side, lifts the blinds, and peeps out the window to see the lumberjack with a campfire cutting logs 100 yards away from the cabin. Alex, knowing that something is extremely wrong, opens the cupboard, grabbing the clothes, and then stuffing them in the suitcase prior to rushing downstairs to see Emily. She asks why he's panicking, and Alex tries to remain calm and explains to Emily, but keeps on stuttering before he can get a word out. And when he finally finishes explaining the situation, she rushes to the window, but no one was there. Moments later, they hear a thunderous bang on the back oak wood door. The wood begun splintering before seeing the axe peek between the wood panels. Alex and Emily knew there wasn't much time before he would manage to get through the door. Knowing he wasn't going to stop at anything, the couple sprinted towards the front door before hearing the rear door swing off its hinges, crashing to the floor. The lumberjack's boot slammed against the oak floor as he lunged in their direction, wielding a hatchet. Alex swiftly opens the front door, whilst Emily bolted out the door, Alex following shortly after, closing the door with a crash prior to locking it behind him simultaneously, heading towards the car park. Striding towards the glass door, not even hesitating, barges through the glass door before rising his hatchet and perusing the couple. While sprinting, Emily trips over her laces. Alex frantically turns around, fumbling to help Emily get back on her feet. The lumberjack still chasing, whilst Emily is getting to her feet in a panic. He lifts his hatchet, cutting through thin air, peeling the rear of Emily's shoe. He trembles, falling face down on the mud in advance of standing back on his 2 feet, grunting while flinging mud off his face. Wildly running to the car, Alex begins to desperately find the keys in his pocket. Prior to unlocking the car door, the couple rushed into the car when Emily looked in the rearview mirror, seeing the lumberjack powering towards them. Alex inserts the key, turning over the engine before slamming his foot on the pedal, sending exhaust fumes and dust in his direction. In utter rage, the lumberjack forcefully tosses the axe with both arms through the rear window, fortunately missing the couple. On the way home, Emily calls the police in a panic, explaining the situation to the dispatcher. The police hastily head to the scene, looking for the lumberjack, failing to find him. They turn to the park rangers, asking if they had any additional information on a lumberjack in the area. Park rangers replied saying that they had never had a lumberjack work there. After opening a search for a few months, he was never found. The police closed the investigation. After the investigation was closed, Alex and Emily tried to contact other people to see if anyone else had came across the lumberjack. It wasn't long before they found other victims. They decided to set up a search party looking for the lumberjack, but he was never found.